Your dictation will start in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Mr. Deputy Chairman, I would like to refer to some of the observations made in the course of the debate which relate to the Defense Ministry items. There have been comments expressing concern in regard to the conditions and salaries of the officers and men of the armed forces. No one would contend that these conditions have either reached an extremely satisfactory stage, but defense, like everything else, has to be fitted into the general pattern of the country. The first question is what we can afford and what are the relative priorities. As one of the speakers said, the defense budget of this year is already 50 crores of rupees higher than last year and is likely to go further up if there are other difficulties. So, while government keeps in view the possibility of improving these conditions, in some cases more quickly than in others, the conditions at present cannot be said to be any worse than they were before, and it is not on account of any lack of concern or consideration that we have to postpone further improvements, but it is due to the state of the resources of the country. The armed forces have undergone no physical expansion, that is to say, the strength has not been increased, but there is a considerable amount of money expended year after year because of better equipment, more modern equipment, and also because of rise in prices of material, military, or otherwise in the world. A specific question about the officers has been raised, and it is suggested that we can make all the lieutenant colonels full colonels before they retire, and that colonels should command battalions. We are not refusing to have this practice just because it is not done elsewhere, but normally a battalion commander is a lieutenant colonel everywhere. If we were to convert all these lieutenant colonels into full colonels, a large number of officers will get colonel's rank and their pensions, even if they serve for 20 years, would be 100 rupees a month more than the others, and at the present moment the country cannot afford it. Another point raised was that they are retired so early that it is a hardship. It is true that they can retire at 40, but most of them do continue. In the services, the age of retirement as against in private industries is early. It is not necessary for me to labor this point much further except to inform the House that these promotions and other appointments inside the armed forces are made with extreme care according to established procedures and is not done in a haphazard way. There have been few complaints about these matters, and government is satisfied that these promotions are made with due consideration to all the circumstances mentioned here. The next point on which numerous inquiries are made is in regard to the procurement of equipment. All of us regard that as an objective, that is to say, self sufficiency in regard to the equipment and in regard to various other allied matters, but there again, defense equipment cannot be separated from the industrial conditions of the country. Our demand for a particular item is often so small that we cannot set up a factory for the production and make it economical. It would produce ever so much more by its capacity than we can consume under modern conditions of industrial technique. It should not, however, be thought that on account of these difficulties, no attempt is made towards further and further Indianization and more indigenous production. At the present moment, a committee under the chairmanship of the Deputy Defense Minister has been going intensively into this question of how far in our various ordnance factories, in factories under the civil production, and in other factories connected with the defense ministry, and by the use of the defense personnel itself, it would be possible to make whole or parts of equipment in the country. Being military equipment, apart from giving a general idea, neither the category nor the numbers of them may be published, but this is a matter that is receiving the continuous attention of the Defense Ministry in all its branches, and we hope that in the 12 months ahead we will be able to make considerable progress. I hope the House will accept this statement and the efforts that we are making as a planned effort in the direction of self sufficiency. There has been some criticism in regard to the cantonments, and I would like to refer to this because more than once this point has been raised. In this matter, Mr. Deputy Chairman, there is some misunderstanding about the position of these cantonments. Some members appear to look upon them as a relic of British rule. In any army like ours, these cantonments are essential. They are really military assets. Originally, they were so started because the army had to be kept isolated from the people, perhaps under the conditions which would keep them fit for the purpose.